Get this figure and more at the Big Bad Toy Store, links in the description. Hey, my name is Jobby, and I'm gonna talk about 2 figures in one video. This is totally not gonna be a complete mess. So these guys, the MassToy Skiff and the MassToys Gold, are third-party representations of the War Within version of Bumblebee and Goldbug. And MassToys, I'm assuming that's how you pronounce that acronym, are a very new third-party company. But what's notable about them to me is that 2 popular toy reviewers helped with the distribution of these figures. Bobby Skullface did the box art, very nice job, and produced the video instructions. Which is an interesting thing to note, these figures don't come with a set of paper instructions. Instead, you get a QR code that leads to the video. And the video is produced in the typical PR style, which is to say, no style at all. I'm just kidding, I love PR. Been subscribed to him long before I started my own channel, and the toy review community needs videos like that. Not all of us could cater to the autistic demographic. Painting and the sculpting on these figures are awesome, but I'm gonna start with Skiff. The War Within Bumblebee design is pretty cool. He's got sculpted in detail that suggests that he's made from alien technology, but he also has references to the original G1 design. In general, the sculpting is very simple, but what detail is on there is sculpted very precisely. As for the painting, it's very minimal. Really, the only painted parts are this visor on the chest, this black section on his back and at the bottom of his feet, bits on the thighs, and his face. And I've mentioned this in past videos before, but the less painting a figure has, the less you gotta worry about paint chipping, which makes the overall figure feel more solid. As for the face, I'm a little bit mixed on it. I'm not entirely sure if it's accurate to the War Within comics, but I just don't like how his upper lip is too puffed out. Other than that, the rest of the head looks fine, the painting on the eyes are clean, maybe it's a little too flat, but it's definitely a solid redesign of Bumblebee. So everything up until this point has been pretty good. But let's take a second and stop denying reality. Kibble me flippin' timbers. Again, I can't be too sure if this is accurate to the War Within comic book. If it is, I can't blame MassToys for this. But as a matter of personal taste, now, I'm not claiming to be an expert on toy engineering, but wouldn't it be possible to place a hinge joint here to make this section fold in to make the shoulders look more concise? But if they did that, they probably wouldn't have anywhere to put these guns. And that's a brilliant form of weapon storage. Plugs into his hands, and those are the classic Bumblebee pea shooters. He's also got one more accessory that you can apply to the figure by unscrewing this part, popping his face off, and screwing this faceplate in. This is an awesome head sculpt, but the fact that you gotta unscrew the face instead of popping it off like a Figma figure is mildly inconvenient. Not to mention this head sculpt is identical to the MassToys Gold. The colors on this figure fit the head sculpt better, and the colors on the rest of the figure are great. The blue and the dark shade of gold is a very appealing contrast. But unlike the Skiff figure, all of this gold that you see on his upper body is all painted, which means you gotta worry more about paint chipping, which means the figure is less solid. But the paint they used is reasonably durable and it looks cool, so I can't complain too much. Also, the limbs are unpainted, so you don't have to worry about paint rub on the joints. As for the sculpting on the figure, it's the exact same thing, minus the head, which is why I decided to make this a double review instead of making 2 separate videos. That would have been redundant, but it would have doubled my ad revenue. You better be fucking grateful. So despite the kibble being a bit, these guys are decently versatile. He can look up that far and look down that far. Ball joint at the shoulder allows for rotation, and you get another ball joint connected to a hinge joint, which allows the arm to move out. Yeah, this arm design is weird. Bicep swivel, bend at the elbow. Arm guard is on a ball joint, which allows that to move out of the way. Ball joint at the wrist. Every ball joint can be. Chest crunch. Waist swivel. Very high kick. Can't move back that far. Aesthetically pleasing spread. Swivel here. Bend at the knee. Bend at the calf, but that's more for the transformation. Up and down at the ankle. And a decent pivot. Posability on these guys is pretty good, but the wideness of the shoulders and that weird arm design make posing the arms just a tiny bit frustrating. But once you get the hang of it, posing these guys can be a lot of fun. As for the size, these figures are basically deluxe class Transformers. Here's Figma Madoka Kaname, SH Monster Arts Godzilla, Masterpiece Optimus Prime, and the Masterpiece Bumblebee. So the robot modes are very fun, except, you know, but what's even more fun is this figure's transformation. All this kibble's not there for no reason. And here we have the Cybertronian Cruiser mode, I guess you can call it that. This design is obviously based on Bumblebee's Cybertronian look from the first episode of the original series, and it's a lot of fun. And just to bump up that fun meter, these guys roll very nicely, and that's thanks to these tiny wheels at the bottom. And while we're at the bottom, yeah, this guy does have a lot of kibble down here, but I'm never too bothered by the kibble underneath the vehicle mode, because who the hell's gonna display it like this? The colors on this guy are nice. I mean, it's classic Bumblebee yellow, but the gold version is particularly particularly beautiful. There's something about this shade of gold that complements this figure perfectly, and it makes this thing look high quality. But you do gotta be careful when handling it because all of the gold on this alt mode is painted. Unlike Skiff, which you could just fumble around the place, and all that kibble from the robot mode fits together nicely in this mode, which makes it feel more. And, it looks kind of like a fat manta ray. Adorable. Mechagodzilla Prime and Bumblebee. These alternate modes are so fun that I find myself thinking that all the kibble from the robot mode was kind of worth it. And it shouldn't be a surprise that I think these figures are awesome. I definitely recommend this figure to any War Within fans, or if you just want a fun, high-quality Transformer for yourself or for a kid. I really do think this figure would be fun for kids. Just don't let them swallow the guns. And if I sold you on these figures, why don't you get them at the Big Bad Toy Store? You can either get Skiff and Gold as a 2-pack, or you can get Skiff by himself. Either way, you're getting a pretty good deal. And while you're there, why don't you check out their other figures? Their selection is almost endless. Except they don't have SH Monster Rush and Godzilla, that's kind of fucked up. It's always nice to see a new third-party company take action, and this is definitely not a bad start for MAS Toys. I'm looking forward to what they do in the future. But until then, here's 1,000 repaints.